I hate to say it, it's only going to be going one way, and that is Novak Djokovic will win Wimbledon this year. I can't see him losing. Simply too good. So dominant here at Wimbledon, and I reckon he's going to get to number 24 and 5 Wimbledons in a row.
The only person that can stop Novak Djokovic in this tournament is Novak Djokovic.
Andy Murray.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Or Sir Andy will come on. Other than that, it'll be Djokovic against his own body. Can he keep his body fit for the whole 2 weeks? If he can, probably name on the trophy. She has the easiest draw out of everyone. And I feel that Iga will win Wimbledon. She had a practice tournament this time. She didn't have one last year. She probably learned from her mistake.
I'm going to be going for Vekic, the one with the 17th easiest draw according to AI. And I'm going to be having Vekic winning Wimbledon 2023.
I would love to see Novak Djokovic take home his 24th Grand Slam title this year at Wimbledon. And I would like to see Sabalenka win as well.
Sebastian Korda claiming his first Grand Slam title. On the women's side, I'm going past the Pinko.
Kicking off on the men's side, Novak Djokovic will have as many Grand Slams as there are hours in the day. And on the women's side, I'm going with Ons Jabeur. She's going to be your women's champion. Let's go!
Another big win for Novak Djokovic in the men's singles. And for the women's, I think Ons Jabeur is going to make us very happy, and she's going to take the women's Wimbledon title.
Djokovic's dreams of a calendar slam are going to be shattered again. And it's the little Spaniard that's going to do it. Carlitos Alcaraz will win Wimbledon.
Hey, welcome back, tennis fans. Day 5 has finally concluded, and they got it done just in time. The curfew was only a matter of minutes away, but that man with a plan, and he's on the path for number 24. Novak Djokovic goes through against Stan Wawrinka, the battle of the Slam champions. And what a way to cap off what's been an epic day of tennis. And I say epic 2 days because the last 2 days we haven't brought you podcasts, but we've been enthralled in the tennis ourselves. So many things to talk about, JG.
Yes, we have been watching it. I can assure you of that. Unfortunately, unable to bring you the podcast episodes rounding up the day. Today, we're going to be speaking about day 5, but we will touch on a little bit of day 4 and 3, seeing as we wasn't able to do it the other few days. And of course, day 5 kind of did relate to day 4 because there was matches from yesterday which rolled into today. So a lot of tennis being played. Of course, we're playing catch up because the start of Wimbledon was terrible with the weather being awful, raining all the time, but we're slowly getting through all the matches. My one annoyance about the whole thing is what's happened is we've seen a lot of the top seeded players playing day in, like on a normal regular schedule because they've been playing on either centre court or court 1 with a roof. And players who aren't so high seed and who have been on the outside courts without a roof, they're like in another round altogether. And it's very unfortunate for them because now what they're finding is they're playing every single day. They're not having a rest.
I know.
They're playing day in, day out.
Well, hopefully the weather will remain good for the rest of the tournament and we'll have no more of these problems and players will eventually get some rest in between in between days. At the moment, it is far, far too congested, that calendar. And there's players I feel sorry for because they've had to play a marathon match followed by another match against somebody who's pretty fresh. Namely, your women's champion. Felt a bit bad for her. She played one of the matches of her life, Donna Vekic, and she was incredible. And she was crying afterward. It was just an emotional roller coaster. And then she comes up against Vondrousova, who she's just been steamrolling everybody. So it's not really fair. You're not getting any break.
You can say the same about Liam Brody. Just come through a tough match against Casper Ruud. Then had to play the next day. Not much rest against Shapovalov. And was unable to do it. And I think a big reason why he lost that match, we will touch on it later on in the episode, was because of fatigue and the fact that his body wasn't fully recovered. I felt he seized up in big moments. He was serving for the third set and was unable to take the opportunities when presented. So a little bit of a bottle, but I think a large part maybe could have been to do with the scheduling, the fact that he had to play so many matches in a short space of time, and they were grueling ones.
They really were. What can you do about this, though? I still think that they've got this curfew. I feel that they could be playing. They could be starting earlier. They could be finishing later. There's so many other things I think they could have done to maybe adjust to try and squeeze everything back in. But unfortunately, we're just left with what we've got at the moment. The tournament start's been a bit of a shambles. We've had the protesters as well. There's been. It's not been the most memorable, or it's been memorable for the wrong reasons, I feel, this Wimbledon so far.
I disagree for the past 2 days. They've been excellent. The ones we've not done the podcast on have been excellent. So let's get into the good stuff. Novak Djokovic, let's talk about him. He's in the title. He beat Stan Wawrinka.
Yes, he did. And Stan himself even said pre-match that he didn't even think he was going to be able to beat Novak Djokovic. I mean, you said it in the preview. He's a realist, and nobody hated him for saying that because it was realistic. And ultimately, that's what happened. Novak Djokovic won in straight sets. And the last time he lost on centre court, you can see it there. It is 10 years to the day, 7th of July, 2013. I mean, nuts.
Yes.
That, isn't it?
Yeah, it's insane. It really is. This guy does not lose at Wimbledon, and he's not looked like close to losing at all. The crazy thing about today's match against Stan, I mean, he steamrolled him in the first 2 sets. Not really much of a battle. The third set was closer, went to tie break. In that tie break, I was watching it all. Djokovic was a bit suspect. He was making a lot of mistakes, and he gave Stan an opportunity. Stan went up 5-3. And I'm sorry, but he completely capitulated. There were shots into the net. He was just doing a lot of unforced errors, and he choked in that situation. But I don't think he had the belief. He said it at the start, and the belief was shown in the tiebreak. Just didn't believe he could take a set off Djokovic. Djokovic far too strong. And the crowd were really getting behind Stan as well. Djokovic sort of cupping his ears towards the end. There wasn't boos, but there was... it was a bit of a subdued applause. A lot of people wanted it to go a little bit further. And Djokovic and the crowd, there's a lot of tension there.
Yeah. He's spoken out and he said, you can boo me if you want. All it does is just make me play better, which we know that's the case. I don't think I've ever really seen it a full-on boo. There's never really been like a real hostile crowd against Djokovic. I still think that he should get more cheering or as much cheering as all of the other great champions that have been on Wimbledon, because I've never seen them receive the same disrespect on a court. Maybe it's because he wins too easily. I mean, this is one thing you find. You're a victim of your own success. People want to see a tennis match that's competitive, and ultimately, and I even said it in the previous round, watching his match, I already know what's going to happen most of the time. I like watching him, but I don't feel that anybody's coming close. And unless your name's Carlos Alcaraz at the moment, I'm not sure who's touching him or even coming close to making it an interesting match. And sorry, Stan, he looked good up until this point, but it's just he's on another level, Novak. It's just crazy.
And it was, I think Covey summed it up perfectly in a private message to us. It wasn't really Djokovic versus Wawrinka. It was Djokovic versus the curfew. And he really wanted to get it done before 11. I think he finished at like 10:45 or something.
Yeah,
or
something like that. 46, something like that.
Yeah, it was very close to the curfew. But it's just so Novak Djokovic. He didn't just beat Stan today. He also beat the curfew as well. Because, of course, he didn't want to have to play at all the next day. So he can prepare, have that extra day's rest, and... look at him now. Equals Pete Sampras. His 31 consecutive match wins at Wimbledon. Is he the greatest player to ever play Wimbledon?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think you can even argue. I don't think there's any argument about it. The only thing that
is Federer not Mr. Wimbledon?
I mean, he was for his era. I feel that Djokovic is in a different. He's overlapped the eras, but he's beaten Federer at Wimbledon more times than the other way round. So it's
at the back end of his career.
Yeah, exactly. But it's difficult. It's like saying Sampras as well. an incredible Wimbledon champion. But you might argue, oh, but Sampras maybe had better competitors on grass courts to deal with. Djokovic seems like he's the only good grass court player out there, really. Or maybe he's just that much better than everybody else. It just seems like he's the only good grass court player, or the only one who's potentially able to win Wimbledon.
Yeah, I don't think you can even say that. I think he is just that much better, because look at him on the clay court, just won Roland Garros. Look at him on the hard court, just won the Australian Open. So it comes a point where you start thinking maybe it's not that everyone's really bad on grass, and it's just the fact that Djokovic is simply so good on the grass, or so good at tennis.
Yeah, he's just incredible. The fact that he keeps on stacking
undeniable
up
force. You cannot prevent him. You cannot stop him.
And that's why I'm still so shocked that when we had the promo came out for Wimbledon, that he was barely in it. It just mind boggles with these type of things. Show the guy the respect he deserves. It's the most Grand Slams of all time. He's gonna maybe soon have the most Wimbledons level with Federer of all time. And he won't be happy with that either. I bet you that he's got his eye. If he can win this one, he's got his eye on next year straight away. He wants that. He wants to be top of the tree. So, but let's talk about quickly Stan, his opponent. He's had 2 surgeries on the same knee and 2 on the same foot. He's 38 years old. He's won 3 slams, Olympic gold in the toughest era in history. But he doesn't get nearly enough credit. Appreciate him while you can. The story of Stan.
Oh, mate, he's an absolute legend. There's no doubt about it.
What a guy.
And I think it is important to note the fact that he's done all of this during the strongest era of tennis history, in my opinion. Yeah. He's done it when you've had the very best players playing tennis. Stan taking them Grand Slams like he did is remarkable. He beat them as well to do it. However, him now at 38 with the dodgy knees and all the other problems he's had, he's not a real competitor to win a Grand Slam. I don't think we'll see him really win any tournament, maybe a small 250 or something like that at very best. I don't think he has the consistency in his game. He's got the odd good shot, but there's just far too many errors. And he never looked consistent at all today for any spells. And it was really signs to me that it could be his last Wimbledon.
Maybe. I mean, there's people putting the same question to Andy Murray as well after his defeat. Obviously, Andy was 2-1 up. He's been a victim of the curfew, unfortunately. 2-1 up in sets. And then Tsitsipas came back to win that 5-set match, calling him a survivor there with the T at the beginning, defeating Andy Murray in 5 sets to make the 3rd round. I think we've got to give Steph his due here because he's beaten somebody who Murray considers himself a top 10 player in the world on grass still. And that's what he said. I said, I think I'm that level. So for us to just go, oh, he's just gone out and I think he's playing well. He's playing some great tennis.
I watched an awful lot of this match, like a lot of it, pretty much all of it, in fact. I missed some of the back end, but then I watched the highlights of that bit. Yeah. And for me, what killed Andy Murray was the break. The curfew killed him. Yeah. The first time they played, which was yesterday, where it ended Murray 2-1 up. Murray to be 2-1 up against Steph in that form was just absolute sublime. You could maybe put it up there as one of the matches of the tournament. The tennis quality was outstanding. Steph was serving massive. His forehands was electric. The best forehand performance I've seen at this year's Wimbledon. And people don't really praise Steph much, but I think it looked better than an Alcaraz and some of the other guys. I was watching it thinking, why can't he play like this against Alcaraz? He surely would give him a good match if he can. Everything was coming together. You cannot criticize Steph at all. And while that was happening, Andy stood with him. So his comment for me is pretty valid. I would say he's a top 10 grass court player in the world. The way he was playing they was both playing top 5 in the world tennis. It was very big shot, and there was just no stopping, really, the Steph service games. There was a few wobbles, and Andy Murray took every opportunity, and that's how he got 2-1 up. ultimately wasn't able to sustain it. Steph, the younger guy, a little bit better fitness, was able to come through. And I think that's really what the difference was. The curfew come at the worst time for Andy. He had the momentum. He was doing what he had to do. If that match played out that night, we could have seen a different result, but it didn't. And I think you've just got to give a massive credit to Steph sticking in there and showing a massive resolve against not just Andy Murray, but the whole of the crowd, because it was a real raucous atmosphere inside that arena.
Yeah, I mean, trying to beat Andy Murray on any court's difficult, but trying to beat him on centre court with the crowd against you, especially when Steph is somebody who the crowd can easily turn against for some reason. I still think he's a likable guy, but he has that element in him where obviously his dad's always there, and there's always a little bit of this like commotion and around Stefanos Tsitsipas, and his head can go down. He's obviously last year trying to hit the ball at Kyrgios. He's got a little bit of I wouldn't say bad boy side, but there is that sort of element to his game where he is a little bit unpredictable. So he's through though, and we've got to give him credit. Tsitsipas, this is probably the best I've seen him look at Wimbledon. So
I think it is definitely the best, and he could be in for a good run. Reason being, next up's Laszlo Djere, which is not a bad draw at all. Andy Murray will be so disappointed, because if he could have beaten Steph, he could have had a real run. It gets a little bit easier before it gets harder again. So, yeah, this was a really massive match for Steph, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see him go on a bit of a run now. In the press conference, I don't know if you saw, Andy Murray looked very beaten down and upset. He was asked about a moment at 15:30 where one of his returns was was deemed out. It was in fact in. And the way he felt was in that rally, had a good chance of winning that point if it wasn't to be called out. So, yeah, I don't know if he didn't have challenges at the time, but I guess he should have challenged if he did have one.
Yeah, I mean, you saw his reaction to hearing the news, and he could even recall that point and knows that it would have been potentially break points, like quite a big moment for him anyway, mentally in the match. Sure. And I mean, they get on Andy's back. I feel that you've got to just look at what he's done this year as a whole, and you can't just come in and just say, oh, you just because you're a little bit old, you're going to be retiring soon. Look how well he's playing. You're asking Sir Andy Murray, is he retired? Why? He's just gone toe-to-toe with one of the best players in the world. He's gone to 5 sets. Could have won if it was all in one day. And it's sort of reminiscent of Tim Henman back in 2001. They had the rain delay. He was leading Goran Ivanisevic in his win from a wild card. He won Wimbledon. If there was no rain delay that day, Tim might have been in the final. But unfortunately, Goran came back. So maybe Steph, maybe he's going to get a little bit of luck as well. Maybe he'll be in the final. Who knows?
Exactly that. Let's move on.
Let's move on indeed. And this is Alex Zverev. He's sort of creeping through the tournament. No one's really talking about him, but suits his game, the grass, I think. We've not really seen him do too much at Wimbledon, but maybe this could be a good year for him. And he's talking about Yannick Sinner. And this one, he said, I like Yannick. He's incredible and will win a lot. But other names hadn't played round one yet. Berrettini, who had played a final here, or me. I don't know if Yannick has to be put on a court with a roof for round two. There are other names who have achieved more. So preferential treatment for Yannick Sinner at Wimbledon. And people like Zverev and Berrettini being pushed out to the outer courts and struggling through their congested, fixtures.
Yeah, I kind of agree a little bit with Zverev. I think Sinner certainly is being treated a little bit like a star boy. I think a large part of that is because of the big match he had last year against Alcaraz. What's he really achieved here? Yeah, but he lost. He got 2 sets against Djokovic and then lost. But regardless of that, I think it's because of that performance last year, Wimbledon are really giving him some good slots.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, Berrettini and Zverev, where are they in the rankings now? They've fallen out, so it's only their fault. They can only blame themselves. they're not being they're lower seeds than what Yannick Sinner is. So that's what's happening.
Dangerous. And obviously they are playing each other next, which is Zverev Berrettini. What a match that one promises to be. Massive serving, massive ground shots.
Well, I know I was talking about the Tsitsipas serve earlier, but I watched Berrettini too, and that was just sublime. Like, he completely ripped de Minaur apart because he couldn't handle the power, and it was just a serving match. That's what it come down to in the end. Alex de Minaur could not return Berrettini's serves. And if Berrettini is playing like this, he's going to probably get to the final. Like, I'm not even joking. I watched some of the Alcaraz match. It wasn't that great. Alcaraz said in the press conference that he feels he's getting better and better with each match. He said it again. I'm like, really? I didn't think you played that well today. That's just my opinion. Let me know in the comments if you agree. I wasn't convinced with Alcaraz against Muller. I think he did all right. Of course, he's better than Muller, but you'd expect him to be able to beat him. He didn't blow me away like he did in the previous matches against Shardy. However, Berrettini did really impress me. And I think Alcaraz needs to watch out now, because Berrettini, in that matchup on the grass, if they are to meet, of course, Berrettini's got to get through Zverev, bearing in mind.
Yeah.
If he can just steamroller Zverev, I would make Berrettini favourite to beat Alcaraz as well.
You can't deny with his body of work at Wimbledon. That's the crazy thing.
He looks back to like his best. So if Berrettini is playing at that level, very difficult to beat.
It looked like it just took him a set against Sonego just for it to start clicking again. And I was worried that he was just completely capitulated. Like, after that lead up to Wimbledon, he didn't even look like the same player anymore. And then it's just suddenly it's come back. And maybe he's just had the right people to play. Sonego, he lost to him recently. Now he's beaten him. That's a big confidence boost. De Minaur, just been playing great recently, obviously at Queen's, beating him. That's another massive confidence boost. And now if he beats Zverev, think how much confidence Berrettini will have if he beats those three players in a row. I mean, then Alcaraz, I agree with you. I don't think he looked that great against Muller. I think Muller actually played pretty well. It's just the odd... Well, say it's just the odd moment with that's what defines a set, obviously, and that's why the great players are able to get them done in straight sets all the time.
That's what it comes down to, really. Just some better shots and big moments from Alcaraz, and fair play to him, and that's why he's the better player. But yeah, I think he was very beatable looking at him today. I don't think Djokovic would be worried about Alcaraz. He'd be more worried about a Berrettini. Probably not, though. Probably not. As I said, I realised that's not true. Definitely, Djokovic will not be worried about a Berrettini ever. But I don't think he'll be worried about an Alcaraz either. Maybe Djokovic's just not worried about anyone. The question to you, though, is he going to be worried about Hubie Hurkacz? Because he beat Musetti, another Italian, in straight sets today. And Hurkacz, I know you were saying there's not many grass court competitors. He is a bit of a grass court. He can play on the hard, he can play on the grass. Not great on the clay. But we saw what he did to Roger Federer here. Bageled him. Can he do something against another GOAT?
Well, he's yet to drop a set in this tournament so far, and Hurkacz didn't really come in with any sort of form. He's another one. Him and Berrettini are just turning it on at Wimbledon. I mean, I still think if he is a big serve, he has more than that.
Is it the toughest test for Djokovic so far? And can he trouble him?
Definitely it is most toughest test. I think Hurkacz even good for a set potentially in this one.
Ooh.
But
you're predicting Djokovic to drop a set at Wimbledon?
Yeah, I think he could drop a set in this one. I think Hurkacz playing really well. If he uses the right tactics, because he's got such good hands at the net. If he gets to the net enough and mixes up the variety, I think he could take a tie-break set, something like that. But Djokovic on tie-breaks, actually. Maybe I'm talking out my rear end. I still think it's a Djokovic win for me, but it's going to be more entertaining, that match, than the last few. That's for sure.
Let's move on to the next tweet.
Yes, this one was still Yannick Sinner. Better speak about him still. Italians to ever reach the second week of all Grand Slams twice. Yannick Sinner. End of list. There you go.
I mean, it is really impressive. He's been pretty consistent at the slams, but only getting to the second week. That's it. He's good at that, doing that, but getting beyond that It's been tough. And the large reason why is because he's always had a really tricky draw and come up against one of the top players and gone out. This year, it's different. If Yannick Sinner does not make the semi-final, it is an absolute shambles. I'm going to call it as it is. I don't know if we're going to get the draw up quickly and we'll have a look at it, because he's got to make the semi-final. It's not excusable for him not to get there. I don't want to hear anyone saying, "Oh, well, you got to beat who's in front of you. It's going to be tough." And that, I'm sorry, the players he's got in his draw, with all the big players who have gone out, he simply has to get there. Next up would be Galan. After that, it would be either Safulin or Chapo.
Yep. And that's it, I think.
What, to get to the semi? I don't think so.
Well, he's in. This is the 4th round that he's in now.
Oh, okay.
If he wins that, then he'll win the quarterfinal against, let's say, Chapo, and then he'll be in the semi-final.
Yeah, exactly that. You're right. So it's just like has to happen for him. There's no excuse.
It's madness.
The only person who's not going to like it, if he doesn't get to the semi-final, it's all on him.
There's no better opportunity. There really isn't. It's just, I'm not going to say it's easy, because no matches are easy. But his next match, he's playing somebody who just went 5 sets with Mikael Ymer in the last round. So he's probably going to be a bit leggy, is Galan. And I expect Sinner to beat him. And Safulin or Chapo, I don't even know who's going to win that one, to be honest. I mean, Chapo's looking good, but Safulin, the surprise package, I'd say. But I wish I had him as a surprise package in this draw. He looked great. He got past Batista Agut in 5, but then since then he's straight sets against Mutet and Pella. Scary stuff. Safulin, that one for me could be a 5-setter.
Yes, Safulin's pretty good, but I don't think he's going to be a threat to a Sinner.
Here's Chapo. Chapo is the opponent of Safulin, and Chapo against players competing at their home Grand Slams. And obviously he did take out Liam Brody. It was a terrible day for the Brits. Norrie out, Murray out, Brody out. Who else went out? I think we've lost everyone apart from Katie Balter on the women's. I think that's it now. So you can see 1-0 against Australians in Australia, 1-0 against Frenchmen in France, 2-0 versus Brits at Wimbledon, and 3-0 versus Americans at the US Open.
Yeah, so that's a good stat to remember and consider in Shapovalov draws. He does very well against players in that country, but I guess he's lucky in a way that both Rafa and Djokovic, Serbia and Spain, and Alcaraz as well, there's no slams there.
Exactly right. That's what I was going to say. Definitely lucky. Otherwise, no one's going to be wanting to lose to Chapo in one of these slams for sure. If you're at home, I don't know what it is about losing to Chapo.
The most impressive one there is 3-0 against Americans at the US Open.
Yeah, I mean that's nuts. But
that's a good one.
I'd like to see who they were. I think that would be more. We know that obviously the Brits at Wimbledon, he beat Murray in straight sets as well.
Kovacevic 3 times.
Maybe. Could well be. Zachary Spadger or something like that. Don't know. I don't know who it was. But yeah, if you know, pop it in the comments section. We'd love to hear from you.
We'll have a read.
That's right. This one.
Finally. Yes.
Talking about Americans, you can speak about this one. He's been on your radar, so you can take us through it.
Right. Before I get into it, I just want to say how inspired and how enthralled and interested I am about this man here smiling. I'm generally obsessed with him. I think he's brilliant. Eubanks is a great character, brilliant tennis player. He's hitting form. And the reason I'm so interested in it is I watched a podcast with him, TFO, and what's the guy's name? Ben Shelton. Them three. And it was really interesting. It was over an hour long. I'll put a link in the description. Great podcast. I really recommend listening. It was a very raw, honest conversation, unfiltered, speaking from the heart. And he was talking on there how much it means to him and what his goals were. And in tennis, his goals are he just wants to be able to get inside the top 20 and make a deep run at either the US Open or Wimbledon. That's what his goals, that's what he set himself out to do. Ben Shelton wants to win Grand Slams. and do all of this. He just feels that is what he wants to do. He's 27 years old. He's been on the tour for some time. He's coming into his best. 6'7". This guy is big. I was watching his match, and he's a very skinny guy, not much muscle on him, but just seems to get the job done. And I think it was probably the most impressive performance of today. He was outstanding against Cam Norrie. I've got so much to say about him. He's going to be the guy I'm supporting for the rest of Wimbledon. I may surprise some of you how much love I have for Chris Eubanks at the moment, but I generally feel it. And I think he's brilliant. He's got a one-handed backhand. He's using Federer as a massive inspiration. The winners he was hitting off the Norrie serve, it was just sort of nonchalant, just like not even much backspin. Just literally, backspin. Sorry, what's it called? Where you pull the racket back?
Backswing.
Backswing, not spin. He just seemed like he just instantly like a little flinch, and it was just winner off forehands, backhands. The guy is so powerful, and he's a dark horse to win Wimbledon. Playing like that, he's a dark horse to win Wimbledon.
Well, he came in off winning a grass court tournament in Mallorca, obviously, and people might have looked at that and thought, yeah, but who did he really play in that one? He played Shelton and Rinderknecht and Mannarino. Well, look, he's just gone beating Cam Norrie, last year's semi-finalist now.
It's his biggest result in his career, and maybe I'm getting far too big on him. The big downside of his whole career, and he said it on the podcast, was his consistency. And he's someone who struggles to play week in, week out consistently, like from day to day. But he said he feels like he's turning the corner, and this is the best tennis he's playing. Certainly confident, and I was blown away. I've never seen him play the level he did today against Cam Norrie. And if he keeps doing that, I mean, he could maybe go past his dream and get into the top 10. This is the question he was asked. Who inspired you to play your brand of tennis? That huge serve, you love coming to the net, the one-handed backhand. And Eubanks said, ironically, I watched a lot of Federer growing up. He's the guy that even to this day, I still go back and try and find some of his old matches. So that is his inspiration. I don't think you can get a much better inspiration in tennis than Roger Federer. And I'm here for every single Eubanks match to the end of time.
Well, it's going to be exciting to see how he gets on. Obviously, he's still playing the third round match. It'll be for Chris Eubanks, and he'll be playing, and you'll be cheering him on against one of our own, Chris O'Connell, who's having a fantastic tournament. Chris O'Connell went past Medvedevic, the qualifier, then Vesely, who just knocked out Korda. He beat him in straight sets. So we've got O'Connell in great form as well, Eubanks in great form. And then the winner of that potentially plays Tsitsipas. And that's a winnable match, I think. Still, I don't want to be mean to Tsitsipas.
Well, Tsitsipas played very well, but the way them two, it could be a serving match. I think it would be brilliant. If Eubanks brings his best level, he can beat O'Connell and Tsitsipas. I'm here for it. Come on, Eubanks. He's my player, man. I'm supporting him all the way.
He's got the boxing name, so maybe we're going to be having him boxing up Chris O'Connell in that third round match. I'll be cheering on Chris. He's one of ours. We saw him in Zagreb as well.
Chris.
So that's it. Chris O'Connell. Yeah, it's two Chris's. Chris Eubanks, Chris O'Connell.
You said you're going to cheer on Chris. I'm like, which one?
That's it. I'll be cheering Chris.
You're really good at this podcast stuff, Ben.
Go on, Chris. That's all I'll be shouting throughout the whole thing. Oh, right. Anyway, moving on. This one is talking about a Chris Eubanks as well. This one saying this time last year, 159 in the world. Early this year in Miami, he came through the qualifying and was in tears after he reached round 4. Today, 7-match grass winning streak, number 40 in the live rankings. The journey of a humble tennis player.
It's a beautiful journey, and I'm hoping he can keep going and pushing up them rankings.
All right, now let's speak about something much more entertaining, because there was somebody who's been moving through the draw, and we touched on it earlier.
Why is this entertaining?
Well, because we need to speak about...
It's not entertaining.
We know that your pick for the Wimbledon Championship was Donna Vekic, so let's see how she got on. She was up against Marketa Vondrousova, and Banch saying here, the underrated Vondrousova has now made the second week at all 4 majors and has an Olympic silver medal to her name, along with the WTA title that she won at the 17 years of age. Impressive win today versus Donna Vekic, who I thought was poised to reach the semi-finals here. So everyone was big on Donna Vekic. And a lot of people ruled out Marketa Vondrousova, but she's a quality player and she's shown it across all surfaces. Is she going to be the one person that nobody thought was going to go all the way here, and she could just take the whole tournament by storm?
Yeah, maybe I'm bitter, but Vekic was killed by the rain. That's how I feel about it. Without all of the stupid delays, I think we may have seen a closer match.
Maybe.
Didn't have time to prepare. She took a lot out of her, that Sloane Stephens one, not just physically, emotionally as well.
Definitely.
I don't think she was ready for Vondrousova. She really wasn't. And she just come out the traps fast, wasn't able to get her game going. And it was very unfortunate. But for can Vondrousova continue and do something magic? I don't think she can.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to have a look just to see who she's going to be playing in the next round, just so that we're up to date with everything. Just 1 second. I'll just have a quick look here. So Vondrousova will be playing Bauskova in the next round, and she's been playing really well. She's great on the grass courts, is Bauskova. She knocked out Caroline Garcia in 3 sets. She's the number 32 seed. Vondrousova not seeded, so dangerous player. And in the section with Pegula as well. So Pegula, obviously, she's been playing really. She's got to her best ever Wimbledon tally at the moment. She's 4th round. She's never been there before, so well done.
Easy draw.
Well, yeah, I mean, it could have been a lot harder, couldn't it? Davis, Bucher, Cocciaretto, and now she's playing Sorenko. And Sorenko should speak about her as well. She was in the one I've never seen a tiebreak. She was trying to rival John Isner and Opelka, I think. 2018 in the final set tiebreak. What was going on there?
Well, it wasn't a tiebreak, was it? Isner's one.
No.
Otherwise, it would have been over a lot sooner.
Oh.
But yeah, this one is mad. I don't know if you're going to bring up the tweet. Is this the last tweet you've got?
This is the last tweet I've got.
Yeah, there is one more. So bring it up.
All right.
And that is all about what we're speaking about. And 2018, I was looking at the point by point. I didn't watch the match. I mean, neither lady could serve. Let's be honest. There was so many breaks to serve the whole match. The first set, there was a few breaks to serve. Second set, there was them as well. I mean, it was just neither player could hold serve. In the actual crazy tie break, let me just go through this. It was
go on.
Tezarenko was 5-1 up. 5-1 up. And then the amount of match points, both players having match points, it looked like Bogdan was going to clinch it because she was the one having quite a few towards the end. She had 4 in a row. And then afterwards, Tezarenko was presented one final match point, and she took it. Mental, though. Just tiebreak of the tournament.
3 hours and a half, that match. And especially in today's heat, I don't know if people are aware, in the UK, it was about 30 degrees, but there was not really any wind or anything. It was just hot. So that would have been a brutal tiebreak. I can only imagine what they must have been going through on that court earlier on. And well played to both of them. They gave the tournament just a bit of a spectacle today. So I like that. Somebody else I want to give a shout out to as well. One of my surprise packages still moving through. It is Svitolina. Go on, girl. She's doing it. She's had a child. She's back on the tour. We saw her in Awareness. And now she's just beaten Sophia Kenin, the person we thought, oh, could Kenin make a run here? Well, guess what? No. Get rid of Williams. Get rid of Kenin. All these former Grand Slam champions are falling to Svitolina. This is a brilliant story. I'm loving Svitolina right now. I'm telling you, this is just what I wanted to see from her. And
I'm a bit surprised. I thought Kenin was going to beat her, so I got that one wrong.
She now plays Azarenka next, so it doesn't get any easier. It's just Grand Slam champ after Grand Slam champ for Svitolina, but just keeps swatting them away.
Gets all the Grand Slam champions out.
Well, after that, she might have to play Iga.
Oh, Iga, another one.
There you go. Careful what you wish for. And Iga, I mean, we've got to touch on her just briefly. I mean, it seems that she's just sort of going through the motions at the moment. Martic was going to be a really tough match, or it was tougher than the last one, but still easy for Iga. Straight sets win. Bencic next on the list for Iga. What do you think's going to happen there?
1 and 2, I think. I don't give her a chance.
Poor Bencic.
I really don't. I think Iga. Let's start talking about her in the second week. No one talks about Iga first week when she's playing like this.
Exactly. Maybe we should be putting a little bit more of our focus on some of the other matches that are going on. We've got a Brit, our final Brit. She's up against the reigning champion, Rybakina. That one, I'll be exciting, but I think Rybakina is going to be too strong for Balta, if I'm perfectly honest. Do you have any different theories on that?
I can't call it. I think it's a bit too premature to suggest that. Sabalenka, we saw her today, dreadful in the first set. Who's to say Rybakina could have a little bit of a wobble as well? She's not really been very well and not playing as well as she was last year. Well, or even towards the start of this year. She haven't, this last month, not been at her best. So anything's possible. I don't think it's as black and white as you're making out.
Yeah. We got just to touch on a couple more. We could be on a collision course for Ons Jabeur Kvitova. That could be a round 4 matchup coming soon if they both get through their next matches. We have to touch
That's close,
on,
by the way, quickly. Ons Jabeur Kvitova. I see it on a level pegging. I'm not sure who wins. And who does win that could look at maybe as a sneak contender to win the whole thing.
Most definitely. I mean, she's a former champion twice, and the other one's just been in the final last year. So both have a great chance.
The other one being Ons Jabeur.
Yeah, exactly. Last shout out I just want to give has to go to the qualifier, Mila Andreeva. She went through against Barbora Krejcikova. I didn't really see why she retired. Did you know what injury there was? Or
just gave up, man. That's what she's like. Krejcikova, this is why people don't really warm to her that much.
For me, I thought she was losing 4-love in the second set. Didn't want to get bageled by a teenager.
And gave up.
Yeah,
that's how I saw it.
But anyway, Mila Andreeva playing Potapova in the next round. I'm looking forward to it. The Russian versus the Russian.
It's another close one, 50-50. I'm not sure which way it's going to go.
Exciting stuff. Right, let's wrap this one up. More tennis to come. Make sure to join us for the matches. They're coming thick and fast. It'll probably be Rybakina and Balta will be the sort of the pinnacle of the day that we'll be finished on. Make sure to join us for that one.
Exactly that. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Make sure, hit the like button, subscribe if you are new. Novak Djokovic going through again. Can anyone stop him? Maybe Chris Eubanks. Come on, the Eubanks. See you guys tomorrow.
See you later.